Good morning, everybody. Tony here with Rebel Financial. Thank you for joining us today for our live broadcast. So today I am here with Lew Griffin of Griffin Insurance in downtown Gahanna in Baltimore. And so we're just going to have a small conversation about Lew is big into helping the community and in the community. So those are some of the things aside from insurance that we want to talk about. So I'll let you start. Why don't you tell me a little bit, like we were talking before, how you got started here in the business and here in Gahanna?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Sure.
And we've been in the Gahanna community a little over 30 years. And I don't tell that very often because I don't want people to know how old I am.
Right.
But we started our business, I was in the life insurance business. And so that's where the first love had always been. And then we developed our business plan in '96 to take on property and casualty.
Okay.
So, and through being involved in the schools and involved in communities, we have just been very fortunate. I like to tell people that we are faith-based because as much as I like to think that I control things or I can accomplish things, now, if we have any success, it's because it's given to us, and we have a responsibility to take care of it and do the best we can. So therefore, you know, if you are gifted and you receive, you want to give back, and that's why we do this in the community.
Right. Well, and it comes back to you too in some ways.
Yeah.
So let me a little bit about the insurance business before we get into the community. So your business does all sorts of different, not just auto. I know
it's a full service agency. We represent a lot of life insurance companies and sell a lot of life insurance and long-term care.
Okay.
But with that is we have a pretty good sized property and casualty agency. So that's personal lines, auto and home, umbrellas, boats, and those types of things. And we have a fairly good size and growing commercial book of business.
Okay.
But it's the one thing that we have learned through the years is that there is no one segment that you go after, because if you are serving the client, you want to take care of all the risk and or at least talk to them about it so that they know what their exposures are. Whether you're 35, you should know about what it might look like when you're 65 and ready to retire.
Right.
And at the same time, if you own a business, you're more than just your business.
Mm-hmm.
You have a family, you have personal,
Right.
personal needs. So we try to talk about that whole conversation. It's what we call our 360 program,
Mm-hmm.
a conversation from where you are now and where you might be later in life.
Right. And be thinking about those
Absolutely.
things. I mean, we're in that business too of trying to help people
Yep.
do that. We talked about it earlier. A lot of people neglect their insurance and financial planning altogether. So I hope to see more of that change. So the business has been around for a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
When did you guys open the doors in Gahanna?
Actually, I moved into Gahanna, 33 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And but the agency, from the way you see it today, we started in 1996.
Okay. And that, a little bit about how it's, the difference between then and now. We were talking earlier, we were going away a little bit from emailing to texting. In fact, it's, as I said, when we reach out to new clients, it's by all three methods: email, text, phone. But you just talk about what a difference social media makes. It's not about just getting out in the community anymore. I mean, you really have to have that presence.
You have to have the ability to communicate with your clients, but with the community as well. And it changes. I mean, there's something new almost every day.
Right.
And in the insurance industry, it's really insurance. A lot like public education, it's slow to make change.
Mm-hmm.
From a company standpoint. So, but we try to stay ahead of the game and take on platforms that allow us to communicate easily and as often as our client wants us to.
Right. Well, one of the good things I think about being a broker is that you have more tools, so to speak, to be able to help people.
We are an independent agency, and we represent a number of good companies, and I like to tell people that whether it's business insurance or personal insurance, it's not about the insurance company, although that's important because your policy is actually a contract. You have to know what that contract is. Most people don't.
Mm-hmm.
So what that leads me to say is the most important decision you have to make is your agent. You have to trust the agent, that the agent's going to recognize the need and place you with a policy or a contract that meets your need. And not every company contract meets everybody's need.
Right. Well, some are just processing paperwork, right, without really paying
That's
attention
correct.
to the
Yep,
client.
exactly.
So, all right, well, let's shift gears a little bit to, Gahanna itself and the community, because I'm always, because I've learned how important folks are like you to a community to keep it going. Because I think 98, 99% of people are kind of just going through their life and just, things are just happening, right? And they're not paying attention to the nuts and bolts of how things are being done. In many cases, the government's helping, possibly, but it really is that local community that is doing things, and you've done a lot. So let's start first with the neat story, I think, is the art gallery. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
So start. How did that come about?
Well, actually, I like to say that we are one step out of the box. I don't know that I ever want to be boxed in. That's like everybody else at times, and so there has to be some creativity in my life. And so when we bought the building on Mill Street at 77 Mill, and we rehabbed it. And it's part of that Creekside development. For those people that don't know, it's really designed to be an entertainment center. We've got the park area, the walking area, the creek. It's really a nice place to be, especially in great weather, and we need businesses there, and that are open in the evenings, not necessarily offices that close at 5 and it becomes dead at night. So I didn't want to be a part of that. So we have 3,500 square feet. It's on the first floor, but what could we do to be part of that entertainment? And the art gallery came to fruition based on that. Yeah.
And that's an awesome part of that whole community, I think, because you're right. If you haven't been down there at all to look at it, it is great to be down there and see the whole Creekside. Good restaurants, good outdoor bars and taverns and things like that. But what a great thought, right? As opposed to just an insurance company, which is necessary, but that's not really adding to kind of the nightlife, so to speak, and the weekends and things like that. So
I've many times said that I over-marketed the art gallery, because when you walk into it, you do not see an insurance agency.
Right.
But that's because we're quote unquote paperless. We have a few papers laying around, but we're so internet based that we don't have to look like an office.
Yeah. Are the doors normally open?
Typically 8 to 5, and then we'll have evening hours that we will promote on the website.
Yeah. So, and then some private parties and some other things too.
If people want to use the space, they can lease the space from us inexpensively.
Okay. And I'm not sure if we did show this, but here, because I did not allude to this, but Griffin Gallery at creekside.com is where this is. So you can get more information there. I'm not going to scroll down too much, but I did want people to see this part of it, how to stay in touch. Just drop your email in there, and then you'll get information on there. But feel free to reach out. If you're down there during the day, it's sure worth popping in there to look at some of the great art in there. So
yeah, we love people to walk in, and my staff's working, but it's fun. It's fun when people do come in, and I'll put a little plug in it. We've had as much as $1 million of art in there at any one time. So it is a legitimate art gallery.
Right. No, it's awesome. It really is surprising to think here's an insurance company. They're not just dabbling in art. It really
and that's
is.
a nonprofit, by the way. We don't need another business. Insurance is plenty, but what we do when the artist comes in, we give them a little bit more than what they would get when something sells at other galleries. We give 10% to the charity of their choice, but the Griffin Gallery is set up as a nonprofit organization.
Okay. But it really is a great addition to the whole Creekside and things like that.
Thank you.
But extending that really to the community, you're entrenched and work closely with the Chamber of Commerce, which they do a great job. It's now I know we say the Gahanna Area Chamber of Commerce because we wanted to expand that, right? Because there's a lot of communities that border us that can benefit from this. So a couple of things that that you're part of, right? The Taste of Gahanna is the big one, but Creekside, the Jazz Fest as well.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the Taste of Gahanna, because that one is one that you push and are the main sponsor of that, right?
Yeah, I think we've sponsored that 14 years now, and it's a great event for the Chamber. It's typically one of the largest revenue-producing sources for the Chamber, and and they've had to relocate it a couple times, but last year we had it at Creekside for the first time, and it was a success. But I think that this year it'll probably be twice as many people coming because it's a great venue. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, and this goes back to just a general note, as I talked about. We need folks like you to sponsor those to make them happen, but we also need a lot of soldiers too. No, we didn't volunteer last year, but we had prior to that, so we got to get back to it this year. But it's a great look at the Chamber of Commerce if you're interested in volunteering. I mean, it really is a great opportunity. So another big part of downtown Gahanna would be the Jazz Fest, right? And so you're not as the main person there.
No. No, we've participated in that, been purchasing and buying stages in past. We haven't done that for a couple of years, but that's put on by the Visitors Bureau, and of course their offices is down, and that's a large weekend event. Starts on a Friday evening and runs through Saturday late afternoon, and so that brings 50,000 people into the Gahanna area. That particular weekend.
Yeah. Well, you say Visiting Bureau. Is that Gahanna's?
That's the Gahanna Convention. I always mess it up.
Okay.
But it's Gahanna Convention Bureau, which they go by the Visitors Bureau.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other thing? You know, what are some of the other big ones? I mean, those are two really big ones.
Yeah, they are. But we have Creekside Live that we sponsor that, and that's 6 Friday evenings in the summertime. About every other Friday. We're remodeling that right now. We have live bands. They come in and perform on the stage there at Creekside. We're the main sponsor of that. And we'll have as many as 800, 900 people that will attend that. The restaurants are open, and this year we're planning to also extend a family event over on Sundays, Sunday late afternoons, and with family kind of entertainment. But Creekside Live is we work with the Parks and Rec Foundation to put that on. So it's a great event, and if you love music, it's a great place to come, and the restaurants are all participating, and so we're hoping this year we'll have some street vendors, not street trucks, but street vendors, and that would be even musicians who just sit down on the sidewalk and throw a guitar case out and play and get tips. So we want to make this really a full-fledged entertainment area for Central Ohio.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and again, as we wrap up here, Creekside is just a great area to visit. So
I think so.
So when you're down there, check out Griffin Gallery to see what that's like, all the beautiful art, and again, they do private events as well. So if you have an interest in doing that, it's a great place, different for that.
And I just remind people though is that if you want to support the arts, buy insurance.
Specifically Griffin.
Specifically Griffin. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, listen. Thank you for joining us.
You're quite welcome. It's my pleasure.
But anyway, so thank you all. Have a great weekend, and we will be back next Friday. Take care.
Bye-bye.